Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Emerging Innovations Lunch and Learn series. My name is Zan Patan, and I'm happy to welcome you guys to our Lunch and Learn here today. We have the team from METAFI here to talk to you about crypto and CBD and the intersectionality between how all of these disruptive innovations are going to challenge you as business leaders to be able to be more effective and to be more profitable in this space. And we're going to start our panel off with a quick video. And I'd like to introduce our moderator for this discussion, Ms. Nakia Evans. And we'll go ahead and get started with this video. And I think
I can play it.
Yeah.
I do want to ask a couple questions.
Before, well, then can Nakia introduce you first?
Yes, let's
Okay.
do that.
Let's do
Can you
that.
show me where to hit play? I can probably hit
Okay,
play.
top
Okay.
right,
That's
you'll
it.
go to this tab here,
Okay.
I got
and
you.
then you'll hit play.
Okay, or you want to stay here? Okay.
I'll be quiet.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys.
All right, well, first I would like to thank Zon for inviting me to present to you guys today and to host our panel. All right, I am new to Charlotte. I am transitioning to Charlotte, I should say. If anyone hears my accent, I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a team leader, a realtor, a industry leader. I'm a serial volunteer. I'm currently serving as the president of our local board of realtors, and that's the only thing holding me back in Baltimore. So as soon as that's over on November the 16th at 6 p.m., you see how I will be starting my transition to Charlotte. So I was looking forward to this event so that I can meet new people. I'm looking to network. Diversity is a passion of mine. Zon's, all of her missions and goals aligned with mine, and I'm looking forward to being a partner with her and with all of you. So thank you for having me today as well. So our conversation today is going to revolve around cryptocurrency and CBD. We're going to have a conversation. Most of us are just learning. I'm going to be a student today as well. We'll be learning the who, what, when, why, and how you can also benefit from these industries and move some of your businesses forward or some of your goals forward related to our conversation today. So I'd like to welcome our panelists. I'm going to have them to introduce themselves for about 2 to 3 minutes each. No problem. I should have brought my timer. 2 to 3 minutes each, and give us a little bit about your career path. Well, tell us your name, your contact information, your career path, and your current roles that you are serving now in your business.
Sure. Really quickly, honored to be here. My name is Ann Tamparello, born and raised in the North Dallas, Texas area. Love Texas. I am that person 100%. Texas is our own country. But grew up my whole life as an athlete. It took me to Texas A&M University where I started playing soccer. Played there, and that led me into a career of coaching. I was an athletic performance coach for a very long time at the beginning of my career. Stayed in College Station, coached in the weight room, all sports, for about 3 years after I graduated, which then bounced me over to Duke University. So I spent 4 years in the Raleigh-Durham area training all varsity athletes there outside of both basketballs and football. Loved Raleigh-Durham, really thought that I would stay there forever. And then all of a sudden I got a phone call saying, Tamp, come on back to Texas. We got this school, Baylor, that's terrible at football, and we're going to turn it around. So everybody thought I was crazy. There's no way that you're leaving Raleigh-Durham to go to Waco, Texas. But I met my direct supervisor and the head coach at that time and saw their plan and knew we were going to win in Waco. So I very quickly jumped on a plane, went back home to Texas, helped turn around an amazing football team, an amazing group of guys, and collective shit hit the fan. And it is just really, really off. That's a completely different subject. But I wasn't ready to leave Waco. So part of what we had done in the weight room at that time was develop a great relationship with the police department there, how to act with police officers, what police officers are looking for, especially on college campuses. So once the police department in Waco figured out, hey, Tamp's not at Baylor anymore, they called and said, hey, why don't you come join our force? We think you'd be good at it. You already know everybody. All right, so I did that. Never meant to be a cop, but I ended up becoming a cop. one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had, but also by far the most challenging for a host of reasons. There is some extremely great things happening at the police level, and then there's some things that really need some work on, and culture and a lot of different things. Well, in the meantime, I had, in the 2017 time, had jumped on the cryptocurrency train and met a great group of people there. And after 7 years of being a police officer, linked back up with some people that I have known, Jaime being one of them, our CEO being another one, said, look, I need to do some crypto stuff, and I got some other things going on. I said, hey, hang tight. We're working on this project in Charlotte. We think you can be good with it. I said, okay, cool. In the meantime, I was with a buddy of mine. My knees are real bad from being a soccer player in the weight room my whole life. Need some help. He's like, hey, try this. Boom, get a bottle of CBD. I'm like, what is this? And I'm taking the CBD thinking I'm gonna get high as hell. But my knees started feeling better. So all of a sudden, fast forward me telling my friends and family all about this great stuff, CBD, I look around and somehow I've opened up a brick and mortar CBD store in the middle of Waco, Texas. So I'm like, all right, now I'm like trying to juggle being a cop, being a CBD store owner, and the 8,000 questions I get on how that works. But realized, hey, let me lay the cop thing to rest. Let me focus on my business. And then boom, Jaime and the team at METAFI call back up. They say, we're ready. We're in Charlotte. And I'm like, hell yes. I want to go back to North Carolina. So set up my business in a way that I could run it remotely, and then jumped here into the Mooresville area onto METAFI, which Jaime will get more into exactly what we do at METAFI. But the bulk of it is we mine Bitcoin, which it's okay if you don't know what the heck that means. We stake cryptocurrencies, and it's okay if you don't know what that means. And then we build software to share all that with people in a way that everyone in this room can understand and join in. So that's how I'm here now, and I'm extremely honored and happy to be here to answer any questions we have today. As beautiful as our moderator is today, honestly, I'd love for it to be like, hey, look, that's all great, but I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
And let's roll with that so that you guys don't leave here saying, I shoulda, woulda, coulda asked this. I want you guys to get everything that you came here for, regardless of, even if it has to do with crypto, CBD, or anything in between. So thank you for letting me be here, and I'll let Jaime introduce himself.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody ever challenged her to anything.
There's a lot to unpack. I know.
Not shows, not time
I
management,
know.
nothing.
But please ask, because I would be surprised as could be if somebody asks me a question here today that I have not already been asked. There's no such thing as a hard question right now. It might be, ooh, how do we do this? How do I ask it? Just ask me. I guarantee you it's not the first time. And if it is, I'll tell you. So please, by all means.
Yeah, so since we're not on Zoom, we can actually raise our hands if you have a question.
Please.
I'll call on you, say your name so that we know who you are, and then your question. And yes, let's please treat this like a mastermind. We have questions, but if you have input as well, we're not asking you to be quiet today. We welcome your input, your questions, and your thoughts. All right, Jaime.
All right, here we go. I will never return to the level. So, my name's Jaime Gazzaro. I work at METAFI. We work together, and a little background. But I did want to ask a question, to be honest. You just have to raise your hand. That's it. You don't have to speak or say anything if you don't feel up to it. But how many of you own crypto right now? All right. Okay, good. We want that engagement. And how many of you have, I don't know if it's there's no restriction in North Carolina. CBD. Have you ever tried CBD? Okay, beautiful. Man, there's more CBD. All right. So it's going to be a 10 day, guys.
What about the other kind of CBD?
Oh, yeah. No need to be quiet. No need to be quiet. I am with you. Please do not test my theory right now.
We're in the full audience, guys. He's going to close the door. No. So we're very open about this. So a little background. I was born in Latin America. I was born in Guatemala. My dad's divorced, remarried, stepdad. I lived in California, Alabama, Guatemala, Salvador, Chile, Argentina. So we were either on the run or something else. So when I finished my education, I was in Chile at the time, and I said, okay, where do I go with my life? Like, where do I begin? I studied software programming. And speaking of career, which is trying to address the questions too. So I started programming. But of course, everything I always heard once I got into programming was like, you're too loud. You talk too much. Maybe you should do something else. and I always ended up in operations in companies. So my first career job was at Christie's Auction House up in New York City in Rockefeller Center. And I did everything to do with remote auctions. So if you ever saw car auctions or wine auctions off-site, that was me in the background connecting everything, making sure it was working. So telecom is the field that I ended up getting. That's why I was so nervous today. So telecom has always been my background. Technology and operations is my background. So if you wanted something to communicate and present and work remotely, that's my expertise. So then, of course, I met my wife, who's from Dallas, Texas, not to Ann. So I ended up in Texas. So I got to Texas as fast as I could.
Yes.
Very good.
Smart.
So I moved out there.
Yeah.
Moved out there, and then I worked for Verizon. I did all of their fiber deployments. And from there, 2015, 13, 15, I moved out there in 2006.
I mean, keep going.
Okay, good. He has 2 minutes. So as soon as we got there, I discovered crypto, right? More on the, what is this? Started researching, and I realized it's part of the next iteration of internet. Just like the internet was the sharing of information, that's the purpose of it. And now intercommunication via email or websites, crypto or cryptocurrency is the actual communication or transfer of money. And we'll get into that afterwards. But in this project, we both met Peter, our CEO of METAFI, and that's where Peter's like, hey, we're building something big. And it's happening in North Carolina. And that's how two Texans ended up in North Carolina, and we're working together on building that vision out. So
Let's
we're good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes, so now, I don't know the question.
So we all want to know, what is cryptocurrency?
Beautiful.
Here's
So
a video.
absolutely. And the best way to explain it, BBC did a great short clip on how it works and what it does. So we'll let it roll the film.
To buy something normally using your normal bank card, this is what happens. I give the card details to the shop. The shop asks the bank if I'm good for the money. The bank checks its records to see if I've got enough in my account. If I do, it lets the shop know. It updates its records to show the movement of money from my account to the shop's. Oh, and it takes a little cut for its trouble. Now, if you wanted to remove the bank from that system, who else would you trust to keep those records and not alter them or cheat in any way? Well, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you. In fact, I wouldn't trust any single person, but I might trust everyone. The idea is you don't have a central record of transactions. Instead, you distribute many, many copies of this ledger around the world. Each owner of each copy records every transaction. So, to buy something using cryptocurrency, I give the shop my details. The shop asks all the bookkeepers if I'm good for the money. The bookkeepers all check their records to see if I have enough. If I do, they tell the shop, and then all update their records to show the movement of money. So there's no way that a forged transaction can make it in. If I try to alter a ledger, it won't match all of the other copies, and it gets rejected. Oh, and one of them, at random, will be given a reward of some newly created cryptocurrency. This is how cryptocurrencies work. And remember, all of these bookkeepers, all of these ledgers, they're not actually people, they're computers. Lots of computers.
Where are these computers? What are they? It's what now you hear in the news of miners, crypto miners. And the concept is the following. Instead of relying, let's say, on a central bank or a central database, that in the states rule of law is pretty good. So there is no modifications or running away with things. Versus the rest of the world outside, a lot of times you could corrupt the data if it's all in a central database. The concept of cryptocurrencies is the fact that now that ledger of your transactions is repeated or copied in the entire planet. Doesn't matter what country, Russia, Guatemala, like Zimbabwe, wherever there's a miner, it's a copy of everybody's ledger, where you're at financially. So now imagine to break that or change the record becomes mathematically impossible. And that's where the trust of cryptocurrencies comes in, is now you are actually letting the machines validate and verify that every transaction in your ledger is true. So when you're going to do a transaction, it has already been validated globally. And to hack that, you have to hack the entire planet of machines, if that makes sense. Any questions in what that is? Now, what is Bitcoin? It's a protocol for transfer of value, transfer of money. And those of you that have invested in it, let's say, because it's new, it seems highly speculative. Of course, those that understand the technology start investing in it early to then how do you apply it as a business? Because everyone in here is a business owner. So how do I, as a business, leverage this? So I don't want to get ahead of any of those questions.
You're right at the
Okay.
next question. So, cryptocurrency, from the traditional financial markets, okay? We all know, we all see it. But how can crypto create more options for new and growing businesses?
You want me to take this?
Take it, Tam.
Okay.
Bring it home.
So the fact of the matter is this right now, with cryptocurrency, it's hard. Right? It's just a fact. It's a very young and emerging technology, but the reason that we're all sitting here is because we're in the same time period right now with crypto as if I was standing here in, say, 1994, trying to explain to you how this brand new thing called the internet is going to revolutionize how we do business. It's going to revolutionize how we communicate, especially with people all around the world. It's very difficult to discuss some of these things without having some sort of a concept, which is why we play the video, because we think it kind of helps you wrap your head around why this is such a big deal. So try to keep that in mind. But the reason that as a business, you want to try to open yourself up to cryptocurrency, which I do accept cryptocurrency at my current CBD store, the brick and mortar, as well as online, is because it takes away the middleman, and it takes, right now you can utilize it to help anybody all over the world who wants your product in Waco, Texas, and they want it shipped to Canada. They want it shipped to Mexico. They want it shipped to Japan. I can now, through the use of cryptocurrency, just like you would PayPal. You have somebody in Canada that wants your product, they pay with Canadian dollars, and then all I know is that on my PayPal app, I get a US dollar equivalent. I don't have to take their payment, go to a bank, make, switch currencies or anything like that. I just get what I get. That is a great way that cryptocurrency also helps you. So I have people that I send things to in Canada, and they send me money with cryptocurrency. I don't have to wait for their stuff to clear, make sure that they have enough money in the bank. They don't have to wait on any sort of currency exchange. I don't have to wait for my bank to take a whole bunch of fees or anything like that. Crypto makes things instant, peer-to-peer, and it opens up business to a worldwide audience. And you can say, well, you can do that now with PayPal or with Venmo or with Apple Pay, to a degree. If you try to transfer tens of thousands of dollars, if you try to donate anything that you try to do, if you try to receive a donation, say for $50,000 or something like that, not only is it going to take multiple days, you have to have multiple banks involved in this transaction. The IRS comes into this transaction. All these different things happen where you're just like, dang, I'm just trying to donate some money. Okay? You start to then understand why peer-to-peer transactions through cryptocurrency are so important. More so important where, let's say that you are an immigrant from Mexico. You come up to Texas, you're working your butt off in construction. You work your butt off to send $1,000 a week to your family back home in Mexico. Because it's literally all that they're going to have if they want to eat, if they want to live. Not only now when I send that $1,000 a week does it take a long time, but they might take about 75, 80 bucks out of the 1,000 that I send after making me wait. And you have to try to find a bank in Mexico, good luck, that accepts that sort of thing. It's hard. It's not like it is in the US. There's a lot of bankless people in the world outside of our borders. Cryptocurrency, if you think like that $80 a week doesn't mean the world to that family trying to eat, just kind of have your blinders on that. That could literally make the difference between them eating and having leftovers or eating and having no more. So it's extremely important, this peer-to-peer transaction. That's why crypto is important. We're trying to get you to understand, open these channels now, understand this now, get used to what we're working with now today, because cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. It's technology, so it cannot be uninvented, and it is inevitable. You just keep hearing more and more and more and more about it. It's not going anywhere. So part of the reason we're here right now today is not to get you to understand every last thing. That's just not realistic. But it's just to try to get you to at least open your mind to learning more about it, especially if you're here either representing or owning a business. This will be an inevitable part of your business, I promise you. So it's really important to at least start grasping straws today, and we'll see where it takes us in the future with things like regulation and that sort of thing.
Thank you. So we have a special guest online.
Yes.
Tommy's gonna bring them in.
Oh, there's the man. That's our
So
CEO there.
this is Peter, our CEO, the guy who got the whole crew together to do this.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Good. I just wanted to say hi. I have been absolutely loving what you guys have been hearing from Jaime and Ann here. They are obviously zealots for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And if I could just encourage you guys, because there's a call to action here at the end of this. Ann and Jaime were people who found each other and myself in the cryptocurrency world way back 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it just so happened that two things were true. Number one, we all were really excited about this nascent and new and viable technology. And number two, we're also exceptional operators. And we all had our own skill sets, our own talents, and our own visions for how we could leverage cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, not only as a means for transfer, as you guys have heard about, as a means of store of value, as you guys have heard about, but as a tool for prosperity. And so that is the major idea, the major theme around what they're talking to you guys about here and why we've built this facility up in North Carolina, METAFI. And so I just wanted to give you guys just a little bit of context, a little bit of history there. We've been in the cryptocurrency community for years, building together and prospering together. And we want to invite you guys into that as well. So make sure that you check out the metafi.co. I'm sure you guys could find the signups there. But if you have any questions, we have an active and growing global community that you guys can plug into, learn from us. We're always in there talking, educating, helping people get into the game and learn at the pace that makes sense for them. So I just wanted to say hi, and I've been loving it so far. I don't want to interrupt, but I'll be here listening in the background.
Thank you, Peter. Sure.
Just to legitimize Peter for 2 seconds, one of the things he is most famous for, which you actually could very easily Google right now, is he was the first one to ever buy a Lamborghini Huracan using Bitcoin. So he has been documented extensively for that one action amongst many that he is responsible for as a crypto OG.
Netflix.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I was
on
saying. Netflix.
In search for the
there
crypto
is
king, he appears
Yep.
in there.
a-
And by the way, he's not the crypto king, for the record.
Yeah, there's a Netflix documentary called In Search of the Crypto King, and Peter does make an appearance in that as part of the overall documentary story. So, yes, so we tell you that just to legitimize it, right? We're just not a one-of-a-kind niche thing. Like, this is something, again, that is really, really growing, okay? So, yeah, I had no idea he was coming on. So
Right, that's what I walked over
fantastic.
and I
That's
saw.
fantastic.
And you have a good eye.
Yeah.
This way.
All right, so when we talk about economic inclusion, one of the biggest topics is access to opportunity. How does crypto fit into economic inclusion objectives and level the playing field for investments and for borrowing?
Beautiful. So I'll start with that one.
Yeah,
So because I come from Latin America or abroad, third world, one of the biggest problems that exists outside, and I can see it here, which we'll move into, but it's being banked. Like in Latin America or outside of the US, to open up a bank account, just the fees make it almost impossible for you to run a business, especially when the value of your business, let's say a bicycle is like $25 US. You get $25, but they charge you like $5 to $10 fee. It's like, my God, a big chunk of my revenue is gone. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in this case, actually allows the banking of the unbanked because the fee to transact. So I have, let's say, amount of Bitcoin to transfer to you. They've done transfers, literally, I exaggerate you not, of million, maybe $100 million, and it cost them about 25 US the transaction to move it from one location to another. So you can imagine how liberating that is in terms of now I can come to you directly and say, hey, I'd love to buy this for my business. Show me, just as the video did, show me your wallet or let me scan it, send you the value that you and I agreed upon, and it cost me a quarter of 5 cents, for example. And now you have the value, and now you continue with your business, but it allows access to everyone. It literally becomes peer-to-peer amongst us.
The other thing that I would add to that,
Single camera?
Yeah, put it on the single.
Yes.
the
Okay.
other thing I would add to that is it gives your business instant cash flow. And this is what I mean by that. This is something that I do with my store right now. One of the things you can do with certain types of cryptocurrency is you can do what's called stake them. And that just basically means lock them up. When you lock them up, you produce yields, okay, that are payable, very much like dividends on a stock. But instead of getting them once or twice a year, you get them daily, okay? What that means is if you hold any sort of treasury with your businesses, take some of that treasury. This is what I do. Take some of the treasury, buy cryptocurrency. It produces yields. You now, when you go to the bank here in the US, because let's not act like we can just get rid of banks, we can't. But you can now go to the bank and show a bank provable weekly, daily, or monthly income for staking your treasury. So let's say, like, for instance, I don't ever want my bank account to get below, my store bank account to get below $10,000. That's my little cushion in case stuff, right? But if you hold a treasury, and again, we'll just make numbers up, say you hold $50,000 in your treasury that you always want to move forward to the next tax year or whatever it is. Instead of holding that $50,000 in a current bank account, watching it melt like an ice cube because of inflation or anything else you want to blame it on, you can take some of that money. You can put it into cryptocurrencies, certain ones, not Dogecoin, not just like weird, Wakanda coin. Like, I'm excited about the next Black Panther too, but don't put it in Wakanda coin. Okay, it's a real thing. You can take that, put that into cryptocurrency, let that $50,000 start producing yields for you. Like I said, now you can go to the bank and say, I have $50,000 in treasury that I can get out at any point, but on top of that, here's the income that has generated for me. And it's undeniable, right? So that's what I'm saying. Our real world use cases, whether it's Jaime talking about reaching a broader audience that the unbanked, or whether it's just showing a positive balance sheet to a banker that we have to use today, there are things that if you start learning about cryptocurrency, can really, really help you as a business owner or even start to grow a business. If you're an at-home business owner and want to go to a brick and mortar, you have a positive balance sheet right there, changing nothing other than understanding how crypto works.
So
What
it's
are
a,
those types? You said there's certain types.
There is, and it will be going a little bit deeper into things, but there's certain types of coin called proof of stake coins. Okay?
Ethereum, one of the famous ones that you've heard of, is one of those that just
Just
transitioned.
moved to proof of stake. And again, we can discuss one-on-one certain things, but there's two types of crypto: proof of work, and that's Bitcoin. There are some other ones that are just not that big of a deal, which is why I say don't just grab at straws with it. And then proof of stake coins. Proof of stake coins allow you to lock them up, and you're basically given a reward for locking them up. And that is what you can show as a positive balance sheet number when you go to a bank.
Now, just so you understand, this isn't just like out of the air. What are you doing when you're actually staking? You're literally putting, it's game theory. You put your value into this node and you're truly validating transactions on that blockchain. So remember how that one did someone gets paid for it? The staking literally is that function, is you're putting your value into the server so it secures and processes transactions. It validates transactions for the network. Thus, it pays you the reward as your interest in it. So you are really performing a function. It's almost like hiring a little employee to just secure a network for you while you focus on your core business, and it produces passive income for you.
I mean, we're not lost as to how complicated like this is. How do I even go about? Where do I start? We have an hour here, right? Like, I don't expect you to know everything when we leave. But what I really hope happens today with you is it's somewhere you're inspired. Somewhere you're like, okay, I have to learn more about what they were talking about. You can do some of your own research, but then you can always reach out to us later after you've gone down this rabbit hole, say in a month or two, and you're like, man, I understand better what these METAFI people were talking about. Now I'm going to reach out to them, especially because we're right here in Mooresville, right? And we're going to give you all of our info so that when you're ready to take the next step, which this isn't going to happen right now, we will definitely help you on that journey. Yes, sir.
So, so take us to a situation where I'm ready to take the next step. I want to give anything. They don't know exactly how. I may not know how to ask it, but I want to give you $1,000 in crypto.
Sure.
Walk me through that process. I come to you, I give you 10 crispy $100 bills. Now what happens?
You literally have just fast forwarded what we are building at METAFI. So here's the ultimate goal that we've started in Mooresville. So check this out. We are going to build something that you guys want to come to, something you already know. It's going to look like a coffee shop or retail shops or a restaurant or a cool place to hang out with the family, maybe go smoke a cigar or get a cocktail. We're going to give you that. That's what's going to bring you to our METAFI facility. Then when you're in there, you're going to understand METAFI, mining Bitcoin. I don't know what any of this is, but there's going to be all kind of educational stuff in there. I don't want to use the term museum because it sounds boring. So it's like a discovery center where you're in there, drinking your Manhattan and you're like, what the hell is all this money stuff, right? And you're drinking, and next thing you know, you're actually learning something about money. And then boom, you go into our big bank of computers that this guy talked about, and you can see Bitcoin actually being mined. And then you're going to really have your socks knocked off of you when you understand every single thing you just bought at our facility was with cryptocurrency, and you don't even know it.
That's smart. You're everybody drinking and then.
That's right. That's a good point. Maybe I should have said you're eating your burrito. That's a good point. That's a good point. But I intended. Yeah. So now you're like, well, how do I make money and how do you make money off of that? Well, we'll tell you. So you have your money, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your own personal stuff, and you're like, this crypto thing, I like it. How do I get involved? Like Mr. Borey just asked. Well, we're going to have at METAFI an app. And we're going to give it to you. That app is simply a digital wallet, just like you pull out of your back pocket, but it's on your app. On that digital wallet, you can load up a whole bunch of funds that you will learn about. The cryptos that we were just talking about, proof of stake cryptocurrencies that we just mentioned. You can load those up. When you lock those funds away, here's the business. When you lock them away with our METAFI validator or any of the other validators that are on the network, we will continue to use them and we will make some money from those. From securing the network, METAFI will make money from that. But we're not going to keep it all, because what does that do for you? We will give you a chunk of that as a thank you for trusting us with your money. So we're winning because we're keeping our business going, and we're providing you a service by making your money work for you. Okay? You're happy because if you give us $1,000, I'm just making these numbers up, but if you give us $1,000, every week you're going to get a $20 reward from that. Now you can take that $20 reward and spend it on whatever you want, or you can reinvest that $20 back into your original 1,000. Just cannibalize itself. Now you do that enough times, next thing you know, the $20 that you were getting every week turns into $100 a week, turns into $200 a week, turns into a legitimate source of passive income when enough time passes by. So you're happy. You're happy. And in the meantime, we're winning too, because we're locking that stuff for you and we're getting rewards from that too. So we're happy as well. So does this make sense, kind of just the thousand foot view of what it is we're trying to do, and what does all this stuff have to do with business?
So for digital currency, I mean, we've heard crypto, we've heard Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that NFTs play a piece of that.
Massive.
Okay. And so we're talking about METAFI, the name of the company. Of course, we know Meta is now here. So
Yes.
I'm sure all of those things play into each other. It does.
Yes.
How we see that, I don't know quite yet. But
So quite
yeah.
broadly, the technology that was created, and it wasn't invented out of thin air. It's an accumulation of knowledge that came together. People came up with how to encrypt in a way that's cannot be decrypted, how to validate certain, and it all involves maths and really smart people. We're just applying what they've discovered. But all of that knowledge was written into a white paper. So if you go to bitcoin.org and look for Bitcoin white paper, then he actually brings all that knowledge together to create the most secure store of value out there. Well, that technology, things like NFT and all of this other stuff you're starting to hear, they're built on that platform, on that knowledge. And what they're doing is finding use cases for this technology. NFTs is more for the artists or people who are involved. The whole scammy part, or the whole thing that's typically occurred is, man, for a picture they're paying this much money, what the heck is, you'll see that, but that's more on the, remember, you all seem pretty young, but I'm not gonna point fingers, but look at my hair. Anyone been on the .com, remember that whole era? They just put a .com on a pet store and it had $1 billion valuation. So crypto is in that stage right now. There has to be a reckoning in that industry and it is occurring, which is a good thing. That's a good, and regulation has to come out also. But understanding the fact that we can do peer-to-peer, you can also stake your value. So to answer your question, Jason, you can use an exchange, for example, Coinbase, which we've all heard, Coinbase, FTX, and all these that you're coming to see. You can sign in there, set up your account, and then even do a dollar cost average where you're like, you know what, send me $50. I want to put it into this token because I've done my research. Never go by, I heard this one's good. Please for the, and I put a link up here, up there where it says, join the conversation, and we'll share it with you guys, where you can come in and the entire community is in there to help. And we're in there constantly to guide you through this on how this works, how can I apply it as a business, and move on. But we did want to, so go ahead.
Right, kind of go with your question, right? And when he's saying all this technology, everything is built, and it's called the blockchain. That's the protocol, that's the network that's set up. So NFTs and some of these other projects are being built on the blockchain. So we're sitting in a room right now that may have controlled lights. We've got a controlled thermostat, right? That all goes back to a central place. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, the huge Target hack that a lot of people were affected by. That was actually caused because someone hacked into the building control system. because that wasn't secured and walled off from. So there are actually companies right now
Sorry, my apologies.
utilizing blockchain technology to secure that network. There's no crypto involved in it, but the technology is being used to secure that, to ensure that type of hack never happens again.
And just point blank, if you need motivation on why you need to learn about crypto and especially NFTs, I know you're a realtor, I have no idea what everybody else does, but there will be a time where your house title is an NFT. An NFT stands for non-fungible token. All that means is something that cannot be manipulated. So anything in your business or your life that you don't want manipulated will inevitably become an NFT. Like Jaime said, right now, NFTs were generated for the artists and musician community because they were having a lot of their creative process stolen. And NFT gave them a way to put things out into the public where, sure, yes, you can go and copy a picture of the Mona Lisa and use it all day long. But to own the actual Mona Lisa is a multiple $1 million transaction, right? So yes, you can go and make copies of Drake's new song all you want, but if you want the real song to push out, you have to pay the man, the person who owns the NFT. So that's why it started in kind of the artist industry. But now anything that you don't want manipulated, how about grades,
Titles.
medical records, car titles, house titles, voting, anything that you don't want manipulated will inevitably become an NFT. My records of my inventory at my store, records of my taxes at my store and my personal life will inevitably become an NFT in the digital future. So again, a nugget to give you to just start understanding the value of crypto as a business, start understanding what an NFT is, more so knowing it's coming. Again, we're trying to explain to you the internet before the internet's even here, but you know, that's why we're here too, is to give you these nuggets to hopefully inspire you to go down the rabbit hole.
So-
Looks like, you want to show us a video?
Yes, ma'am. So
Did it great.
if you're wondering where the heck are we and what are we doing, here's a quick video to share with you guys. So here we go.
Hello, and welcome to METAFI. METAFI's mission is prosperity for all, where everyone is welcome. METAFI is a proven digital asset mining team with over 10 years of experience. We have just acquired a 23-acre facility and an inclusive vision of prosperity. Did you know that we have a global community of over 2 million people? We want to bring the world into digital asset mining and learn all about the future of digital currencies. We have acquired the facility. We're actively fixing it up and preparing for launch. We're building tools for prosperity, like our Prosperity Wallet, coming out in 2022. How can you help? We have an amazing plan for profitability, prosperity, and trajectory for revenue and growth, and we'd love to have you be on the starting line with us. We're raising funding to get us started. We already have the facility, the team, and a 2 million person community. We need to fix up the facility and prepare it for public tours of our mining pods. We need to improve our technology infrastructure and build revenue-generating applications and tools for the world. Now is the time to purchase Bitcoin miners and infrastructure at depressed prices, so we can benefit from asset accumulation and hedging our revenue and profits. Where are we going? With your help, we plan on a public offering to the retail world. This allows our global community to invest and co-build our startup together. We're going to be professionalizing the digital currency space by offering the world's first cryptocurrency ecosystem, both physical and digital. We want to invite the world into our profit community where they can learn, grow, and earn with us. Your support can help us take advantage of the largest wave of digital asset growth. We are METAFI. The opportunity is now. Join our prosperity journey.
So that's, some of those are clips of our actual facility in Mooresville. So again, we're not gonna solve or answer all your questions and have you walking out of here thinking you're a crypto expert. Again, that's not the end game of today. The end game of today is for us just to convince you just enough to go down the rabbit hole because you heard something about the future here. And then eventually come join us in Mooresville and find out more. See these things live. Engage with other business owners and operators to help you in your specific area, right? Does all this kind of make sense on where we're trying to go today? Yes, ma'am.
Is METAFI the first of its kind here in North Carolina? Like, That's
The way we're
correct.
doing it, yes,
Yeah.
because you'll always hear of mining facilities, or you'll hear of cryptocurrency. We're actually building the entire stack, meaning we have the mining facility, which is securing the network on Bitcoin, but we're also developing under Peter's leadership, the software to allow person-to-person transactions and the securing and the staking and all these concepts that we brought up. Yes, as a holistic, go ahead.
You're not gonna get anywhere near any of these other mining that are strictly doing mining. They're not gonna welcome the public in, those are, highly secured, guarded access, right?
Yes.
We know the way that we can allow everyone to come in and see what we're doing, and put a realistic touch to the digital world and still be secure about it.
Right.
And allow that, because we want everyone to understand this technology and the future.
And then, like Peter said, it all comes back to community. METAFI would never be here in Mooresville with a facility if community didn't happen first. So it's not just a tagline, it's literally how we got from 5 years ago to today. Jaime was in that community. I knew Jaime digitally chatting on the internet long before we met in real life. But then when it's time to actually go analog and get a building and get things going, we're here now. We already have the relationship. Does that make sense? So in order to have a digital future, which we all know the world is going to a digital future, you have to have an analog representation of it so that you feel good about putting things into cyberspace. I always use an analogy, like, say you can use whatever you want. But let's say I'm gonna buy a pair of boots. Let's say I'm gonna buy a pair of Red Wing boots. I have to go into the store, look at how these boots are built different, try them on, touch them, study them. And once I've done that one time, I have no problem now getting online and buying those boots online every single time. But without that analog experience first, I'll never go digital. That is what Greg is talking about, Jaime is talking about. That's why we're going analog at METAFI. We're going to give you every reason to come join our community, whether it's beers, burritos, retail, anything you want. Yes, because you call me out on the We're going to give you what you want, right? Daryl's part of our community. He comes, hangs out at METAFI, okay? And we're going to give you the analog stuff because him being in our facility, he's going to inevitably learn and start interacting with our digital software, which is where we win. Let's be honest. We build software, but you don't understand that. Okay, so we'll give you what you want and then teach you along the way. And next thing you know, you're like, I'm flying with these people. And here's the cool part. Daryl all of a sudden wants to bring 5 of his buddies to METAFI because they got an awesome hangout. So Daryl's buddy, what's your name?
David.
Daryl's buddy David's like, Daryl, what is this place? And he's like, man, check this out. You have this wallet. I'm going to send it to you right now. You open your wallet and Daryl's like, I'm making $100 a month just because I gave these guys 1,000. Again, made up numbers. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, check it out. This is what I did. So you just copy Daryl. You're happy. You're making your money. We're happy now because you gave us coins to help secure our network and our software makes money. And next thing you know, you're like, this digital stuff is cool. Now you call your people in California, you call your people in Brazil, you call your people where the heck ever, and you do the same thing Daryl did today, the same exact thing. Now people who have never been to our facility, but know and trust these two, have downloaded the wallet and are staking and earning the exact same way that you guys are. Does that make sense now? And you can apply this to your businesses in your life. You can. And again, you're not going to walk out of here knowing how to do that fully. But if you start researching, you start getting in the space, you start understanding right what's in your backyard, you can pick and choose what works in your world. Does that make sense?
Right into where
Let's go.
I want to tell them, you keep running over to this computer, right? They go right into the video. We need to know where you are going. Can you tell them where you're going? Is it a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook? Please tell us so we can start keeping track of your timeline when this is going over. We want to be the first ones in line at the door so you can come in. So give us some little bit of contact information before we move into CBD.
Yes.
The central location where you can find us and begin asking questions. Just go to themetafi.com metafy.co. That's our website.
Somebody write that down for me,
Yeah,
'cause
the-
I need this information.
Somebody
Yeah.
taught me a dry erase. I'll throw
Yeah.
this there.
Or right here, it's, there's space right here too.
I'm scared to touch anything.
No.
So,
I don't see the markers.
Oh, no, you're good, you're good. Here, I'll type it on, it's right here. As long as I don't turn everything off.
Give us some
So-
more, yeah, don't you
Yeah.
so
touch anything.
No, no.
the Metafy,
Someone
Yeah.
just already DCT.
Oh, there, good, okay, cool, there we go, there we go.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Ain't
Thank
as
you,
good
Brandon.
at a lot of things, but not computers. Not the
So-
on-site computer.
Absolutely. So the metafy.co, in that location, so I know all of us have favorite portals to go to, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So when you get to the metafy.co, at the top you'll hit socials, where we all come together to speak and really get engaged, where we have even community members coming from other states to come and visit and touch and feel. And by the way, when you come, you're gonna sign the wall of the miners. You're gonna touch a miner that's working out there and leave your signature on it for posterity. So, but Discord is our main tool of communication at this moment. If you don't use that, just email us. You can sign up on the newsletter and you can send us your questions also.
So yeah, we have a newsletter coming out. We do anticipate having an opening, a grand opening, probably toward the end of April. So if you follow us on our socials, as that gets a little closer, we'll be a lot louder about it. You guys are 20 miles away. We expect to see you there. We would love to have you there. We were hoping to have it this year. We had to do some power upgrades instead. That stuff's important. That's how we survive. So we did some upgrades. We'll have a grand opening in the April time. And then when we completely redo everything and get that building exactly where we want, we're going to even have another grand reopening at that time as well.
There was a recent power outage in Mooresville. I live in Mooresville.
It was not us.
No. By the way, that power outage occurred while we were changing out the switching gear. So we
It
were not
affected
plugged
us.
into the system.
We did not have power on. I had to drive in and I was Charlotte
Yeah. So by the way,
We gonna keep an eye on
you must
that.
yeah, you must be very close because oh, beautiful. Okay. Fantastic. So it's not mine. And by the way, guys, we're doing the transition. So the power is down at this very moment. Give us a few weeks, we'll be back online. So I don't want it to be underwhelming. You're like, it is quiet in here.
Is there a YouTube channel? Well, I could.
Yes.
Or the video, so if we
DCTV.
go to the main website and we click on socials, we want to see the YouTube
YouTube
channel and we
channel.
can watch more videos, because I don't want anybody to
Absolutely.
leave here confused.
Correct.
Yeah, and we are gonna leave confused.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, but we wanna just maybe do
Yes.
our own research website
Yes,
and then go to all
please
We
the.
stream daily, 9 a.m.
Yeah, that DCTV, that's us. We have a huge umbrella of companies. Not all of them are called METAFI, but like Jaime said, if you go to our website, if you go to socials, you're gonna get a massive list that you can choose from. I like Facebook, I like Instagram, I like TikTok, I like Discord, whatever it is. Go to the one you want and you can get all the information there. But we do stream, Jaime and myself and some other people stream daily. Greg is on there daily, and we're just talking about crypto news and anything that comes
We're
up.
gonna
This
take
section.
one more question and then we gotta get into CBD.
Yeah, well, hey, whatever y'all wanna talk about, anything you wanna talk.
And then we can come back.
Let's do
Yes.
it.
All right, so I have a question. I'm sorry.
No, go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
So I admittedly have been a little bit afraid of crypto because I don't understand it, right?
Fair.
I might have $50 invested in like Bitcoin or something right
Okay.
now. And then I get notifications saying Bitcoin dropped 5% or, it went up. What does that mean? And how does that affect, I guess, the value of what we've invested into crypto? Let's say we're talking about, let's say I have thousands of dollars in crypto. How would that affect the value of what I have invested into
Right.
that
So-
cryptocurrency?
There's a couple of different aspects of cryptocurrency. The one you are referencing right there is simply a price action for traders and charts. It's kind of like your stocks. The stock market can go up or down, but until you cash it out, you haven't really realized those
Profit.
profits or losses.
Yeah.
Exactly. So And again, your question is kind of difficult because even though we would stake certain things with us, not necessarily Bitcoin, but there's other coins that we would stake. And regardless of if the value of those coins go up or down, you're still going to produce your dividends. So not everything in cryptocurrency is tied only to price action. That is one aspect of it. They don't necessarily directly affect each other, though. So what you're talking about, price action, would not necessarily mess with your yield. You would still have a yield. It might be a little bit up or down. You might see some variance in there, but you would inevitably make your yield.
And in terms of the pricing, that's where dollar cost averaging goes in. If you have $5,000, don't just dump it all at once. You can enter it every week. So regardless of where price is at the time, you sleep at night still, knowing, okay, if it goes up or down, I'm still averaging in. Please, for the love of God, do not put your rent money, do not put, please, you'll hear that happen. And what you're doing there when you're getting into Bitcoin, for example, is you're investing into future growth.
Long-term blessings.
Yes, and that's where the asset itself will accrue value in the long run. We're actually expecting, just to be fully transparent with you, one more bloody leg down in Bitcoin. But it's because we're in the industry, we understand it. But if you want to invest in it for the long run, don't jump all in. Get in there, discover it, and talk to us. We'll gladly tell you where we're at, what we're thinking, and share our knowledge.
Jaime, just so you know, Jaime's kind of at METAFI is one of our technical traders, so he is always going to default, as he should, to the more technical and price action, the analysis of the charts, very much like stocks. He's always going to default for that. I'm a little bit more on the practical side of it. I'm not a trader. I don't read charts, not what I do. I like to just more take the money, invest it in what I think are good companies, good teams in the cryptocurrency space, and then let it go. Let it run long term. So again, it depends on kind of your risk strategy as well. Is this for a business? Is this for you? What's your end game? How much time do you have? All those kind of things.
And just a follow-up question. We go to the website and we connect with you guys through socials and get involved in the community. Is that a place where we can be educated on basically how to go from nothing
Yes,
with crypto to how do we get into?
Yes, ma'am. How to incorporate it into your
Right.
business.
So someone knows absolutely nothing about it.
Yes.
Says, I got
We all-
$100. I want to go. I want to go into crypto.
Yes.
We can, specifically for that, on our socials, when you go into our YouTube, we have certain playlists on the YouTube. One of them is Peter, our CEO, did 2 great educational series. One is called the 10 Days of Bitcoin, and it's what you just said, from I know nothing to 10, after 10 videos, you'll have a better grasp of it. The other, I don't know if you remember like P90X, and he did a B90X, where it's 90 videos of deeper dives into how to practically use this as an individual with some expendable money. So if you just take the time to watch this, again, we can throw all the things that we're doing at METAFI, that I'm doing as a business owner, that Jaime's doing with trading. We can throw this stuff at you guys all day long, but you've got to meet us halfway. If you're not willing to put in the time, the effort to understand, you're never going to get it. Okay, you've got to just meet us halfway. We're here because if along the lines you have questions, you have ideas, bring them to us. We're open and willing, right? But you can only lead a horse to water. Okay, you got to drink. Fair enough?
And Discord is a place, when you enter Discord, there is no dumb questions. Guys.
No such
None. We noticed some of our guests that would come and visit, they're like, well, I didn't want to pose a question because I've never done that. We're like, no. And now it's one of the best questions askers out there because they want to learn. And that's our goal, is to take someone who's never even touched it to where you're proficient, where you're like, you know what? I need this money back, but I'll stake it. Okay, I'm going to a stable coin. You know, certain concepts that later will make sense to you, but there are different venues where you can protect it. If you don't need downside at the moment, you use this type. If you're building a nest egg, well, go to Bitcoin. It's that type of pads that we can lay down for you or share with you of how we've built it.
Sure.
And you'll find all sorts of flavors in there. Tam, myself, Greg, all
Let's
this.
take a quick
Yes.
break.
No,
From crypto. We gotta
Yes,
get in
let's
the
look at it. Yes.
We promised we would talk about crypto and
Yes,
CBD. We're taking a lot of time. So, let's just talk about real quick. The legalization of various forms of cannabis, CBD, and THC products has created a new and emerging market.
Yes.
Okay? How can leaders of new and growing businesses leverage opportunities with CBD? Tell us what we need to do as business owners to kind of leverage this. How can we get in the game?
So do you guys want to know more about how to open a CBD business? Like, how is it legal? Why CBD?
How do you source it? Yeah.
Like me specifically, or in
your
general?
business?
In Texas.
So the majority of the sourcing, and in Texas, we are not a fully legal state. We are like North Carolina. Texas and North Carolina go almost hand in hand with their laws. We have to source hemp, not marijuana. So there are two basically branches. Cannabis is a family, okay? Cannabis is way up here. From that family are two branches. You have marijuana and you have hemp. They look the same, smell the same, but their chemical makeup is different in terms of potency. That's really the only difference. So I always use the analogy of grass. If you don't know anything about grass, you say my front yard has grass. But you talk to your dad and he's like, no, that's not grass, St. Augustine, it's Bermuda. It's, like, there's all these different things about it. So the sourcing of our hemp is mainly going to be from your Midwestern states and Oregon due to climate. So that's, to answer your question, is a lot of hemp, but it's grown on the East Coast. It's grown everywhere. I mean, they're even trying to grow it in Texas, but it's not working because it's so dry. I didn't want to ignore your questions. Did you have a question, sweetie?
I knew you
Earlier, it's probably crypto related.
No, it's not actually. So I'm sorry. I want to apologize for coming in late. So I mean, I haven't really gotten all the information. But I wanted to know how big is this public to the public? Is it very like millions of people know what's going on, what you guys are putting out there for that's going to open soon?
Yeah, it's we're still under construction. Put it that way.
We're developing, but collectively as an aggregate, we have multiple platforms where we speak, which with the audience as an aggregate about 2 million eyes, but on a global scale, it's over the internet.
But our analog facility is in version 1.0 right now. We just recently acquired the facility back in February, is that correct?
Yes.
February. We have the mining operation up and running in the facility. That is the heart of what we do. Now, everything that we were talking about, beers, burritos, and coming and hang out, that is all under construction right now. But we are letting you know our mindset, which is what Greg was saying. There's a lot of crypto mining companies in Appalachia and all over the US that is simply either containers or metal buildings that people say make a whole lot of noise, and they're correct. And you can't go in there, there's nothing else to it. We are simply mining cryptocurrency. It's not for you, it's for us. Okay, those exist everywhere. We have a different mentality on that. We are mining cryptocurrency too. That is how we make money. But we know that we have something to share with everyone. This isn't just for us. That's why we're here. It works for my business. It works for his family. There's no reason that we need to hoard all this. There is enough to go around. What we're challenged with at METAFI and what we are now building is how do we share it with you guys in a way that makes sense, where you're not having to sit here and understand this stuff that doesn't even exist yet. Again, trying to explain the internet before you ever sat in front of a computer. That's the challenge of it all. So phase 2 of what we're going to undergo with the building that you saw in this is retail, hangouts, all these things that will bring you in. And then we're almost done with some of our software applications that we say, great, now that you're here, download this. And then you can take path X, Y, or Z with us if you want. And then share it with your people all over the world. That's the beauty of it. Your people don't have to come here to Mooresville. Your people can just listen to you, who they trust and know, right? So we have the facility. You can come visit us at the facility, but you're going to see very industrial, hard hat type stuff. We will have the grand opening where you can see where we're going, and then we'll have the grand opening when it's done and polished a diamond now. And you can come to that too and follow along. Say, man, I was here on the first grand opening, and what they've done with this place is unreal compared to where it was last grand opening. And we want that to come in April. That's what we're shooting for, is April.
And the goal is, this isn't sketchy or what is this? Sounds dark. it's more, you'll meet the families that are involved in this. You'll meet the children, like you will see everybody, business owners, non-business owners involved in the building of all this. And that's what we want to relay is go from green bean to hero as quickly as we can get you there and engage you in that so you understand the industry. But CBD is very
You guys got two really long topics to push that.
In an hour, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at our questions and we've answered a lot. But what everybody probably wants to know is what advice do you give us? What is our next step? When we leave here today, what do we do? What do we do first? What do we do second? I'm gonna say first, we need to go online and connect at your website,
Yes.
first and foremost.
Yes.
We need to watch some of the videos. We need to learn some of the things. And then we need to give you a call problem. We need to connect. We want to build a relationship with you. So what is our next step? What is the advice that you give us? If our interest has been piqued today, what do you want us to do next?
Yeah, go down the rabbit hole. Go ahead and start with Bitcoin. Let's go there. Okay, if you're really new, start with Bitcoin. Learn about Bitcoin. Learn about why it's different because Bitcoin is different than cryptocurrency. There's a reason why. Some of it is just to separate different communities inside of the whole cryptoverse. But start with Bitcoin. Learn how it works, why it was invented, and maybe how certain people are leveraging Bitcoin from a financial point of view. Then once you do that, you will inevitably go into what are called altcoins. Altcoins is where you can make a whole lot of money, but you can also lose just as much that quickly too. So be very, very careful. Just try to learn a little bit. And then, like it was said, connect with us. Start coming in to watch some of our streams. My mom is she's such a stereotypical great mom. She wanted to support me by watching our live stream. So the first week of the live stream, she's like, I don't understand anything you guys are talking about. I don't know what's going on. And I implored her, Mom, just keep watching. Just keep watching. Even if it's just to look at me because I'm a big girl. She called last week and was like, I loved your show today. Really? I understood every single thing y'all talked about today. And thank you. All of a sudden, terms and concepts that she didn't get week one, she just stayed with it, stayed in that environment. And next thing you know, now she's starting to speak the language, understand the jargon, see what we're talking about in a better way. And that's what I mean when we say we can lead a horse to water. But you're going to have to dive in there too if this is something you think can be part of your future, personal or business-wise. And then once you kind of immerse yourself in it, then now you can come with educated questions, more direct things. How do I do this? Right? And that's where it gets fun. That's where it gets really fun. But right now, you just got to learn.
So where's the water? The METAFI.co. And then you click on socials at the top. Where we're really active is Discord. So click on Discord in there and boom, it'll bring you to that rabbit hole that she's speaking of, and we're there. And just say, hey, just remind, hey, I was here. I was wearing a pink sweater. Let's go.
So I do have, we didn't get into health and wellness and the CBD side. So for me, I'll just give you my story. Flying on airplanes, I travel, I speak. I'm a motivational speaker, I coach. So I fly to events almost twice a week sometimes, at least twice a month. And for me, at first, I needed medicine to fly. I'm just not a medicine person. I did not want to take medicine. It sounded too much. They say Michael Jackson drugs. I don't want Michael Jackson drugs. I'm scared. Okay. So I discovered that CBD helps me to fly peacefully without being scared every 2 seconds, every time the plane shakes. Now I'm not scared anymore. So can you explain to us how CBD is helping with anxiety or helping us with our health and wellness? You said your needs.
Absolutely.
Give us a little bit of that information because really the best explanation of CBD was the cannabis and then there's a hemp side and the THC side, but go just a little bit further so we know, so I can explain, because I can't really explain why I'm not nervous anymore on the airplane, but I'm not.
So all mammals, whether they're on 4 legs, 2 legs, or anything in between, have a part of their nervous system called the endocannabinoid system. It's a real thing, you can look it up. That system in our body is wholly responsible for balance. You've heard of pH maybe being responsible for balance, or you get too acidic, too basic, anything else. Whenever we fall out of balance, the endocannabinoid system is activated. Our bodies constantly right now are doing one of two things. They are either building up, okay, and that's when we rest, recover, and do things like sleep and relax, and that's your parasympathetic system turning on, or we are breaking down. We are going, and that's your sympathetic system turning on. Your body is constantly activating one or the other. The issue is that your body does not see stress as any one type of stress. It sees it all the same. So whether you're fighting with your significant other, get cut off in traffic, are overloaded at work, you're not eating correctly, you're not hydrating correctly, all of that to your body is stress. It does not care. And if we have all this stress and we don't do enough to activate the other side, we get out of balance. Our endocannabinoid system will kick on and it will do everything it can to get us into balance, but it just can't. And a lot of that in westernized is because of our diets, okay, and just overall levels of stress. What CBD and marijuana too, what that stuff does is it goes directly into our systems, connects to our nervous system, and changes the chemical makeup in our brain to help the body get back into balance. So just like if I am constantly going to the weight room and I am breaking my body down, constantly lifting all these weights, spraying and everything, if you don't give your body enough protein to help it build back up and stronger, you will inevitably break down and get hurt. That is what happens if you don't give your body extra protein. So this is just CBD and THC is just giving your body extra supplementation from the cannabis plant that interacts perfectly with our endocannabinoid system. So the reason you don't freak out on planes is your body is in a state of stress. It is imbalanced. The reason why you get cut off in traffic and you go postal is because you have got other stuff happening to you inside of your body that is pushing you over the edge. So when you take the CBD, you're helping your body just simply go back into balance so you're not off on one side. So now, when you get cut off in traffic, you can just be like, asshole, instead of like looking for a gun. That's the difference. And the same thing. So it's not that you're not nervous to fly, it's just that your body isn't reacting as strongly and overdoing it. Okay? So it just helps you not stress as much because you balanced out that system that is part of your nervous system.
We say, just to break it down simple, we say correcting bodily dysfunction. I mean, if you want to know what it is, it corrects my body.
And that's it. It is simply a plant-based supplement that reacts in that system of our nervous system. Beautiful. That's all it is. And there's a lot of education that needs to go out here because it's hard to just say all that. Do what?
They don't know even put research.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Right. So there's our endocannabinoid. Right. So simply, it's that simple. And you don't have to have THC is there. So there's 113 different players in the cannabis plant that we know of. So this might answer your question. I don't know. This is kind of like a spiel that I was going to, but there's 113 different players in the cannabis plant. THC is going to be the most popular. CBD now is a buzzword too. But those are two players on the same team. THC is known for the psychoactive part of the plant that gets you high.
Yeah.
CBD is one that does a great job of interacting in our endocannabinoid system without the psychoactive effect. So they do a lot of the same things with two different results. But God put all these things inside of the plant to work together. Okay, so what you see a lot in CBD stores and what you might want to look for when you're looking for CBD or just the general all quality product because it's time for you to chill out. There are a few things. You can get isolates. You can get isolates of just THC or just CBD. When you get an isolate of just CBD, I'm not a big proponent of it because in and of itself, by itself, it doesn't do a whole lot. It needs the other players on the roster to really work. THC is a little different in that capacity. You take just THC, you're gonna get high, okay? But the experience might not be as good as if you get a product that's got more than just THC in it. So I always say things like, listen, if you have, say, an edible that you want a gummy or something like that, if you get an edible with just THC in it, you're gonna have a really good experience that tastes really good because THC doesn't taste bad, but you're only playing on a football team with Tom Brady, okay? One player, granted it is Tom Brady, but he's just one guy. If you get something with THC and some CBD or a few other terpenes or cannabinoids in it, now you have, say, Tom Brady and the whole offense. You're gonna have a better experience. You're gonna get more from those other players around the THC. Taste is gonna start to get different there. You're gonna start tasting the plant. If you go with a product called live rosin, which is a buzzword these days, everything now is live rosin. Live rosin is the entire roster. That is all 113 different players in the plant all together, okay? It starts something called the entourage effect, and all that means is that all the medicinal properties of it, all the psychoactive properties of the plant, all of everything in the plant is together. But with that also comes a taste change because there's certain cannabinoids that you cannot get rid of the taste. So it's gonna taste grassy. It's gonna taste that kind of dank, earthy flavor on it. But the effect and the medicinal properties of it are gonna be in full effect from a live rosin product. So just know that it's a better for you the more all of 113 players you can get. So
It sounds like we're gonna think we have it.
get the whole roster.
You don't want me to have the whole roster.
I'm not sure about that.
Start with half of what got you. I don't care who the hell you are.
And by the way, Tim, how can they find you?
WacoCBD.com is my personal website, WACOCBD.com. If you put in a note, I mean, I see them, all the orders that come in that I just forward to the staff, but if you put in the notes, hey, Wonder Group sent me, or anything like that, like I was there with, your Bitcoin talk, whatever, I'll be happy to throw y'all some free product in there. And everything in my store is 100% legal in North Carolina. We can ship, yes, we'll ship. There's a few places, like if you wanted to send something to your sister, say, in a few other states, we may or may not be able to facilitate that. But again, just put it in your notes, and I'll definitely send you a couple things to try. But disclaimer, if you buy anything with THC from me, please, less is more. I don't care who you are. Please start with half.
I know.
Look,
those two there.
Please suck out. They didn't listen.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Let me take one question, then we'll at least disconnect. We gotta let our social audience go. So let me do this question with our social audience, and then we'll disconnect online, and then
You guys
we'll
gotta go
address your
whatever
question, okay?
time.
Yes.
So,
Respect time.
thank you for explaining the difference between the hemp and CBD and THC.
Yes, ma'am.
So where I'm from, marijuana is legal.
Mhm.
So they make it with everything from soap to salve to lotion to ice cream to cookies and everything else.
Why'd you move here?
I know, right? So, my mom is almost 90.
Okay.
And she, had bad knees. So there's a salve that they make, a lotion that they make, and we would massage her knees and stuff like that. I was told, be careful because if they drug test you at work, it can seep through your pores. You're using it every day to apply it to her. Is that scientifically true?
100% false.
Thank you.
An external salve, cream, anything you call it, cannot go from an external skin source into your bloodstream, which is what it is going to have to do in order to show up as a positive on a urinalysis. So it is impossible. You can bathe in that stuff as long as you don't ingest it or it gets into a wide open gash.
Right.
It will not show up in the blood, thus it will not show up on a urinalysis.
Spoken like an officer.
Great question.
Right.
I'm the police because I felt like, okay, if I could get in trouble from just doing that, I might as well go ahead and smoke it.
Let's welcome Zon back. Let's get disconnected from social media. Let our social media audience go. Thank you,
Thank you for
everyone,
attending,
social
everyone.
media.
Thank
And then we
you.
will continue the conversation. Let's just get a quick break here.
Okay.